So yesterday we have not seen this question. So this is also very easy one. We will solve this and then we will go back to TCS, TDS, e-way bill today. So because those are very simple one, TDS, TCS and e-way bill. So this question we will see. Mr. Sachin, a cost and management accountant, being a partner in GST registered firm, orders a gaming software for his son Mr. Raju from a company which is located in US. He makes payment for the same from his personal bank account, whether transaction liable to GST. If yes, in whose hands the tax is liable. Also discuss related legal provision in brief. So how we have to present for this types of questions. So see, he is ordering a gaming software and that is the company is located in USA. So how we are going to present, and here in this case the payment made by Sachin is from his personal bank account and not from the account of the registered firm. He is a cost and management accountant and being a partner in GST registered firm. So here he makes the payment not from the firm account but from his personal bank account. So it is not a taxable, non-taxable online recipient. So as per section 14 is related to OIDAR services, meaning online database access retrieval services. So if there is any supply of OIDAR services by any person in a non-taxable territory and received by a non-taxable online recipient. Non-taxable online recipient means he is now making payment from his personal bank account. That is non-taxable online recipient. The supplier is the person who is liable to pay tax. So he is a NRTP, non-resident taxable person. So the liability of paying IGST will arise in the hands of the company who is providing the services. So here who is providing the services? The company which is located in USA. So if the payment is made by a person from his personal bank account, so in that case the IGST will arise in the hands of the person who provides the services. So yesterday we have seen about what is meant by NRTP. So NRTP means non-resident taxable person. So we have seen that, yes. So this we have seen yesterday because this is also one of the question in December 24. This reference to GST law, define NRTP and analyze the provisions. There we have seen NRTP means who has no fixed place of business or residence in India. So whenever he is doing this types of kinds of transactions, he is liable to pay GST. That means before that he has to get registered here the business in India, and then he is liable to pay IGST. So this is the NRTP, the non-resident taxable person. So which GST return he has to file? He has to file GSTR 5, and we have seen what is the due date. Due date we have seen for NRTP, which is 13th of the following month. One more we have seen is last date of filing return. What the last date of filing return means, within 13 days the GSTR file should be furnished within 13 days after the end of the calendar month, or within 7 days after the last day of validity period of registration, whichever is earlier. So in that case, the meaning, what is last date of filing return? Here also we are again seeing within 7 days after the last day of validity period of registration. So whenever they go for registration, the period of expiry also will be given for again along with the registration. So his date of registration is 27th January and the expiry date of registration is 23rd. So for the month of March, whether he is liable to file GSTR 5 13th of April or 7 days from the 7 days after the last day of validity period of registration. So here what is the registration date? The expiry of registration is 23rd of March. So plus 7, 30 days. Within 7 days after the last day of validity period. So it comes 30th March. So for the month of March, he is not liable to file return on 13th of April. He has to file return by 30th of March. So this is the meaning for the last date of filing return. So this we have seen yesterday. I repeat this because this last day of filing return, even for TCS, for other returns, wherever you find the meaning, you should recollect these types of examples. So this is the meaning for the last day of filing return. So we have seen this question as well. The other two are the related to foreign trade. I will take it that. See, foreign trade policy, SEZ and EOU. So I can share. The schemes you can remember, you have to remember all these schemes. The question here is the exporters under foreign trade, the major schemes announced for exporters. So the advance authorization, duty-free import is, I think it's not able to share. So these schemes you can write or you can give some 1 or 2 lines meanings. So this still we have to see about the EPCG, ROTEP. These are fully theory. We can see this in easy way how to remember. And regarding the other question, this is only for schemes. December 24. So what is the difference between the SEZ and EOU? So this is also very easy one. What is SEZ and EOU? So this in the first one you can mention the special economic zone and EOU for export oriented units, and then you can start defining the meaning and everything. Like supply to SEZ is called export, and the supply to EOU deemed export, and the GST the supply from DTA means domestic tariff area. So like a normal locations. Suppose if our unit is a normal one, not in SEZ or not in any of the EOU zones. So we are in domestic tariff area. It will attract high GST at 0 rate. So we can't say it's exempted high GST at 0 rate. So that is the supply from DTA to SEZ. Say for example, in the within Pune, if there is any SEZ zone is there, we can mention IGST but at 0%. Same way, if we are supplying to export oriented unit, so there is a the GST will attract at the applicable rate, and only for SEZ IGST at 0 rate. If you are supplying to EOU as per the applicable GST rates, the GST is applicable. And the refund does not arise, no tax suffered by SEZ, because we are anyway it is a 0%, so there is no question of refund. But here in this case, either suppose if we are supplying, we can go for claiming, or whoever our customer, they can also go for claiming the refund. Either one can claim refund of GST. Customs clearance. So the clearance is achieved within the zone itself. Here there is a scheme which is called fast track clearance scheme. So the customs clearance. First you can see the meaning and the GST, refund, customs. 3, you can remember the tax related, and the setup. Where it can be set up, SEZ can be set up at designated sites, but it can set up at anywhere in India. So this is, they can set up at anywhere in India, here only at designated sites. And investment, very important point is this, because there is no specific investment is required, but for EOU, minimum investment 1 crore in plant and machinery shall be considered for establishment as EOU. Minimum investment, only projects with minimum investment of 1 crore shall be considered for establishment. And here for but still BOE, Board of Approvals, may allow establishment of EOUs with lower investment criteria. So even less than that also will get approved by the board with lower investment criteria also. So this has come for 7 marks. This tab is not working. Let me see. Yes. So you can see it is its work has come for 7 months. All the questions, if you see, which are very simple and not very complicated also. So whatever first give priority, whatever you can easily cover everything. then you can slowly go for some complicated problems. So whatever very simple and easy you feel, quickly you complete it, and wherever you have any doubt, just click a photo of that problem or the theory area. We can connect and we can solve easily. So now we will continue with this GST TDS. So yesterday we have seen a new term which is DDOs, Drawing and Disbursement Officers. So who are called drawing and disbursement officers? Then you need to remember from point A to F. So always you can see wherever the government related is there, you can mention central or state government establishment, local authority, government agencies, act board set up by an act of parliament, established by any government with a 51% or more participation, and the Societies Registration Act, society registered under Societies Registration Act, and public sector undertakings. These all points you need to remember, because the question here itself is, every person registered under GST law is required to deduct TDS under section 51. Comment on the validity of the above statement. So you are also, tomorrow if you are going to start a company or any business, if you go for registration, GST registration, whether you are liable to deduct TDS, the answer is no, because the only the persons who are called drawing and disbursement officers, they are liable to deduct TDS. So then you have to list down who are called drawing and disbursement officers. So then we have seen their contract value, if it is less than 2.5, then no TDS. If greater than 2.5, then you have to see whether to whom you are supplying. So if your customer is DDO, then you have to see the DDO belongs to the supplier state. If he belongs to the supplier state, yes, then TDS applicable. If he not belongs to the supplier state, so we are in Maharashtra, so our supplier is also, that is our customer is also in Maharashtra, then we suppose if we are in a government, the supplier is a government establishment. So if we are supplying to the government establishment, then TDS is applicable. So the supplier if this point is no, then again one more check we need to do. And the place of supply is also in the same state. So in that case, TDS is applicable. Else there is no TDS. Still we have seen this example yesterday. This 1 and 3, very simple one. You can now look at 2 and 4. If you see 2 here, 3 things you needed to see. DDO, supplier state, and the place of supply. So first one, DDO. DDO here, who is DDO? Government of Tamil Nadu. And the second thing is what? Supplier state. Who is the supplier? Engages, or you can see the location of supplier. Here the location of supplier is Tamil Nadu. So DDO belongs to the supplier state, then yes, TDS is applicable. So here TDS, yes. Now we are going into fourth one. Government of Andhra Pradesh. DDO here who? Andhra Pradesh. Government of Andhra Pradesh. Then supplier state, see the supplier state here, New Delhi. So this condition is not up, this for this we are going into the option no. Here again we are checking one more thing, DDO and place of supply is in the same state. So we are Government of Andhra Pradesh, there is the place of supply. Place of supply is New Delhi. So that is not in the same state. So it is TDS is not applicable. So here this is very simple example problem where we go into the detailed one. We need to apply these conditions. So now we will go to our material. So there are also other points which we need to see. Actually in the material, I don't know why it's not. Yes. So in GST TDS we know the contract value. Now we understood who is liable to deduct the TDS, and returns also we are clear. Like the return is GSTR 7. So now what are the other things where we need to understand? The GST percentage. So till now we have seen the limit is the contract value if it exceeds 2.5 lakhs. So what is the percentage that DDO deduct on the payment? So that so there are 2-3 things still we need to clear. So we are saying that your contract value exceeds 2.5 lakhs, then we are eligible, the DDO will deduct the TDS. So on what value? So say the contract value is 2.5 lakhs and in a month you are raising invoice for, say for example 20,000. So 20,000 plus some GST of 18%. So on 20,000 plus 18% GST, say for example the invoice is raised for 23,600. So whether the DDO deduct on the basic value of 20,000 or 23,600, this and all we need to still clarification is required. And the next thing, so that what percentage there is a TDS, they deduct the TDS. For these questions we need to see little bit some theory area. Say this is again the same, if it exceeds 2.5 lakhs. If the contract is made both taxable and exempted, deduction will be made if the total taxable value exceeds 2.5 lakhs. So we have to see very clear about this taxable supply and exempted supply. So only our taxable value contract exceeds 2.5, then they deduct the TDS. Then TDS percentage 1%. That means say 20 lakhs invoice is raised, 20,000 per month the invoice is raised. On 20,000 1% means 0.5% CGST and 0.5% SGST. If it is some IGST, then directly 1% will be there. So there is one more where the location of the supplier. So I think this 1% each under CGST, sorry. So 1% CGST and 1% SGST. If it is an interstate, then we go for TDS 2%. The location of supplier, state A, and the place of supply is in a state or union territory B. It is an interstate supply and the TDS is 2% under IGST. And in other case, where the location of supplier state A and the place of supply in a state without legislature B, it is an interstate supply. So this will come back for the legislature. Now you remember easy one, which is two things. One is TDS percentage, CGST, SGST, each 1%. If it is interstate, the TDS is 2%. When advance is paid to supplier on or after 1/10/2018 for supply of taxable goods or services or both. So then TDS is applicable. So we'll see with some examples now, and then we'll go back to the theory. Simple, any examples we'll see. Okay. Supplier X makes supply worth 11,800 to a municipality. The contract is 15 lakhs. The rate of GST 18% and the both supplier and the deductor are in the same state. Whether TDS to be deducted by municipality? Yes, the TDS will be deducted because the contract value is greater than 2.5 lakhs. Net payment to supplier X after TDS. So they are making supply worth 11,800, which is including GST. So on what value the TDS will be deducted. So now how we need to calculate this 11,800 into 100 divided by 118. That means this 10,000 only the basic value. On 10,000, 1% is CGST. That means 100. And the SGST 100. So 200 they will deduct as a TDS. Then so 10,000, 11,800 minus 200. So how much they will get? 11,600. So how we need to calculate? Say 11,800 is the total invoice value. Total invoice value means which is including GST of 18%. Since 11,800 is including GST 18%. So how you will calculate the basic value without GST? So this 11,800 is 118%. Now you need to calculate the 100%, which is the basic value, into 100 divided by 118. So the basic is 10,000. Then you need to deduct the, that is who will deduct? The municipal corporation will deduct the TDS. So CGST, TDS and then SGST, because both are in the same state. So here 10,000 into 1%, and this is also 1%. So how much they will deduct? 200. So we gave the invoice to the municipal corporation for 11,800, and they will deduct the TDS of 200, and how much will be paid to us? 11,600 only will be paid to supplier X. So now in this question itself you got it where the TDS amount to be deducted. It is not on 11,800, it is to be deducted on the basic value, and the percentage also you got it, it is 1%. If it is IGST, then IGST TDS directly 2%. So if you are making any supply to the municipality, then you will be paid after deducting the TDS of 1%, that is 2%, and the balance money only will be paid to us. Now there is one more we have seen about the taxable supply and exempted supply. So here you will get in detail here. So the second point, when we have gone through here, the contract value greater than 2.5 lakhs for both taxable, I think here we have seen, yes, the conditions and amount. If the contract is made for both taxable and exempted, deduction will be made if total value of taxable in the contract is greater than 2.5 lakhs. This point is also you needed to note down, because the other basics now you got some clarity. Now a little bit in advance we are going, like taxable supply and the exempted supply. So the supplier Y of Mumbai, he makes a taxable supply 10,000 and exempted supply 20,000 in an invoice, bill of supply to the finance department of GOI, some government of India, located in New Delhi. The contract for supply is 6 lakhs. You should be careful here. The contract for the supply is 6 lakhs and 2 lakh 60 for taxable value including GST, and 3 lakh 40 for exempted supply. Following payment is made by Government of India to Y. So you can see it is 10,000 and 1,800 plus 20,000. Whether any deduction of tax is required. So how we need to conclude whether tax needs to be deducted or not. So now we understood the total contract value is 6 lakhs. So here itself I will change, or here I will put. So the total contract value is 6 lakhs. Is the total contract value. So out of this total contract value, you can see the taxable, taxable supply and exempted supply. You need to bifurcate exempted supply. So what is the taxable supply? 2,60,000. And the exempted supply 3,40,000. What they said? It is including GST. It is including taxable value, including GST. So generally on what value they deduct the TDS? On the basic. So now say for example this is 18%. So they have given here the integrated taxes, that the rate of GST is 18%. So this 2,60,000 is 18%, including 18%, 118%. Now again we need to calculate for 100%. So this 2,60,000 into 100 divided by 118. So how much our taxable supply? It is not greater than 2,50,000. You should whenever you say the contract value exceeds 2.5 lakhs, it should be without GST. So if you see here, our taxable supply is less than 2.5 lakhs. So TDS is not applicable and you should not consider this exempted supply. So how we have to present that? So whether any deduction of tax is required? No. And the value of taxable supply is, so it's 2,60,000, which is including GST, the same 220, 339, they are given the rounding of 340. The taxable supply in the contract does not exceed 2.5 lakhs, so the deduction is not required. Okay. So now you understood what percentage, what is the contract value, and if you are supplying to any government establishment, both taxable and exempted supply, only the taxable supply value is considered. So you got till here. So now we will go little bit what additional things we need to remember. TDS on metal scrap. So it's like a case law, this one. So that case law which is given here in detail. It is the recent one with effect from 10th October 2024. RCM will be applied to the supply of metal scrap from unregistered to registered persons. Supplier must register once they surpass the threshold limit. The recipients responsible for paying tax under RCM. This is the very basic one. So if you are purchasing from an unregistered person, then you only liable to pay GST to the department. This is the common basic one. So what new additional thing is there? TDS 2% applicable business to business. It is for supply of metal scrap. So you need to see if there is any supply of metal scrap only. This change expands the scope of TDS, which previously applied mainly to government bodies and public sector. So you can see here Mrs. Hanuman Limited, a registered person under GST. So what is the applicable thing is there, FCM applicable, so which is 9% CGST, and that is 3 lakhs, and what is the amount. So you can, first one is they are supplying metal scrap, the value is 3 lakhs. To whom they are supplying? To the Raja Ram, the registered person under GST. The invoice dated 1st November. So that whether the TDS is applicable. So the invoice is raised for on 3 lakhs CGST, SGST, and they have supplied to the registered person So the TDS applicable here. So why in this particular case, this is supply of metal scrap alone, okay, that you need to remember. So then they have deducted the TDS of 3, that is 1% TDS is there because both are Tamil Nadu only. So CGST, SGST, TDS 3000 and the balance has been remitted to Hanuman Limited. Now whatever we have seen here, one point you need to remember is the metal scrap. So even when you have gone through your, even in the direct tax also, when you have come across to this TCS related, this metal scraps, if there is any scrap sales are there, you might have seen these types of transactions. Again, this is like a metal scrap only. So this has been a new case which has come effective from 10th of October. So what the summary of this? So not for all products, remember metal scrap only. So if the supplier is an unregistered person, then the recipient is an unregistered person. So GST is 18%, no GST because both are unregistered, and TDS is not applicable. In this case, unregistered person to the registered person, in that case GST what? RCM basis, reverse charge mechanism. So whoever is the recipient or the registered person, he is liable to pay GST. So in that case, TDS not applicable. So the second thing, a registered person is, the supplier is a registered person and the recipient is unregistered person. Then FCM applicable. What is FCM? Forward charge mechanism. That means usually if we are going to start a business tomorrow, then we go for GST registration. So if you are registered under GST, we are FCM, that is forward charge mechanism basis. In all invoices we raise, we charge GST as well. So FCM applicable, so here GST TDS not applicable. So here the registered person, any registered person, FCM applicable, that is forward, even though not DDO, drawing and disbursement officers, TDS is applicable. We are talking only for the supply of metal scrap. So remember, this is related to supply of metal scrap. So this picture, the diagrammatic presentation, if you see, this is supply of metal scrap. He is a registered person. He is also a registered person. FCM, forward charge mechanism applicable. So see here, registered person. He is not a, till now previously what we have seen, only DDO liable to deduct the TDS, right? DDO is who? Drawing and disbursement officers. So, previously what we have understood, like if the Hanuman Limited supplying to any of the government establishment, then that government establishment, when making payment to Hanuman Limited, they will deduct the TDS. This was the one which we have understood till previous one. This additional point is what? If you are supplying metal scrap, in that case, even the recipient is not a DDO, if he may be any registered person, but still TDS is applicable. The person will deduct the TDS and then the balance payment only you will receive. Then next one is when tax deduction is not required to be made under GST. So when the tax deduction is not required, the taxable value, we need to write in the opposite way. If it is less than or equal to 2.5 lakhs and the contract value greater than 2.5 lakhs, both taxable and exempted, but the taxable supply less than or equal to 2.5 lakh. You need to remember the illustration 2 which we have seen. Then recipient of services which are exempted. For example, services exempted. Receipt of services. So the notification 12/2017. So there are multiple exemptions are there. Here also one another big illustration. So you will understand what is that. Say this receipt of services. Yesterday we have seen about the charitable in the notification 12/2017, the charitable trust and goods transport agencies. If you are providing any services to the government establishments, those are captured in this notification 12/2017. So if you are receiving those services which are exempted, in that case TDS is not required to be deducted. Receipt of goods which are exempted, again the same point, services which are exempted and the receipt of goods which are exempted. The goods on which GST is not leviable, like petrol, diesel, natural gas, alcohol, then TDS not required to be deducted. Say for example, you are supplying some petrol or diesel to some government establishment, but still they will not deduct the TDS. Why? Because for those goods GST is not leviable, hence GST is, they will not deduct the TDS. So where a supplier issued an invoice, any sale of goods in respect of which tax was required to be deducted at source under the VAT law, payment for such sale made on or after 2017, July 2017. So even for this case, the supplier issued an invoice where the tax required to be deducted under the VAT law. This was prior to the introduction of GST. It is related to your invoices of prior to GST. If you see this date, it is before 1st July 2017. So in that case, the payment you are getting after the introduction of GST. In that case also, TDS not required to be deducted. Now which TDS we are saying? Not related to direct tax. This is GST TDS. So that one is different and this GST TDS is different. That the location of supplier, place of supply, which is different from the state or union territory where the deductor is registered. So this I will tell you what. Then no TDS, no deduction of tax at source if the services, commercial, coaching and training in Chennai, these are service related. In that case, TDS not applicable if location of supplier and the place of supply which is different from the state or union territory of registration of the recipient. So see here, the Academy is in Chennai and the registration is of it is registered in New Delhi, that is he is the recipient. So in that case TDS is not applicable. So there are this one schedule 3. So we have to remember now schedule 1, 2 and 3. So schedule 3 is neither supply nor service. Certain transactions which cannot be considered neither as a supply nor as a service. In that case, these points now we are seeing is where TDS not required to be deducted. The payment relates to tax invoice has been issued before 1st October 2018. Any amount paid in advance prior to 1st October 2018. See, what is this date and what is the date which we are talking here? Previously, we have seen is prior to the introduction of GST. This GST TDS which has come into effective date is 1st October 2018. Before the, after the GST introduction, say with our GST got introduced is 1st July 2017. This date is what? This is related to the introduction of this GST TDS. So the payment which has been issued before 1st October. So yes, this is obvious. That is, no DDS would have been deducted. And any amount paid in advance prior to 1st October and the tax invoice as issued after 1st. Hello? Okay. Oh, if I go into that slide mode, no, I may not able to say. I am not taking you. Yes. Thanks. Sorry. Thanks. Okay. Oh, sorry. If I show that slide mode, no, if you are in online, I may not able to see actually. Yeah. Yes. So now we are seeing what are the then TDS not required to be made under GST. So whatever points we have seen when it is required to be deducted, you just need to remember some 2, 3, 4 points of the same. Like your taxable supply less than 2.5 lakhs, your contract supply, your contract value may be greater than 2.5 lakhs, but it includes both taxable and exempted supply. So if your exempted supply is more and your taxable supply is less than 2.5 lakhs, then TDS not required to be deducted. Other easy points, remember receipt of services which are exempted, receipt of goods which are exempted. So in that case, TDS is not required to be deducted. So these two things very important. I will tell you when that particular illustration comes. Then goods on which GST is not leviable. So till now these are under not the CGST. If you see, it will be the local tax only. There is no CGST is there. Petrol, diesel, petroleum crude or this aviation turbine fuel. So for this, no GST TDS to be deducted. The supplier issued an invoice for this one. I tell you a short thing. Suppose your GST is our GST introduction when it has come into effective from 1st July 2017. So whatever transactions prior to that, So for that, TDS is not required to be deducted. That supplier issued an invoice for any sale of goods, tax was required to be deducted at the source. Then in that case, the payment made on or after 1st July 2017, but still TDS is not applicable. This TDS date, when it has come into effective, 1st October 2018. So after this date only anything will be effective. So whatever transactions you have agreed prior to 1st October 2018, GST TDS is not applicable. Where the tax is to be paid on reverse charge by the recipient, that is the deductive. And that case not applicable. Payment made to an unregistered supplier, and the payment relates to some cess component. So here you may not at least whichever the easy points, because these types of questions they may ask. The TDS is to be deducted on all transactions discussed. Then you need to remember what are the, it is not for all transactions, only for these many transactions, TDS not required to be deducted. We need to comment on that statement. For that, we need to remember few of these transactions. So there are some other things. Yes. Okay, this is coming in summary, I think, because this you need to know it. The brief diagrammatic representation of TDS provisions in GST. Deductor is required to take registration. So what is meant by deductor is required to take registration? Okay, fine. So some government establishment, my entity is already registered with GST. So based on that, your normal registration number, are you eligible to deduct TDS? No. For deducting TDS, you need to apply for the GST TDS registration number, the same like your GST registration number. It is a similar kind. You will get a separate registration number. For that, based on that number only, you need to file your returns. So this you have to obtain this for TDS registration purpose, separate GST registration number. The deductor is required to take registration. The registration to be done through common portal. It is in addition to normal registration. So if you are already registered with GST, but still if you are eligible to deduct the TDS, that is if you are a DDO, then in that case you have to apply for the separate registration for GST TDS deduction purpose, and you have to obtain the registration number. It is required to file the GSTR 7. So this is mandatory. So this you need to remember. This may be new thing. So this you need to remember. Now I will show you again where we have stopped, and then we'll continue. So Ministry of Defence exempted from TDS provisions. So I will take you wherever the very critical things are there. that exemption made by government departments and PCUs to other government departments. So if it is any transaction between the government departments, then it is not applicable. So yes. So now we'll see here the various situations. So I told when we have seen this particular point, receipt of goods which are exempted, receipt of services which are exempted. So remember these 2 points. Now we'll see these illustrations here. So this is very helpful and useful. The situations, whether TDS required and what is the remarks. The finance department is making a payment of 3 lakhs to a supplier of printing and stationery. So these are, you remember, this some transactions with the government department. So the contract value is greater than 2.5 lakhs, then deduction is yes. The education department is making payment of 5 lakhs to a supplier of printed books and printed or illustrated postcards. Payment is for books is 2 lakhs and 3 lakhs is for other printed and illustrated books are exempted goods. So previously we had seen in the 2 points, receipt of services, receipt of goods which are exempted or TDS not required to be deducted. So I told you to remember those 2. If you see, the goods are exempted goods, no deduction is required in respect of supply of books. However, involving printed or illustrated postcards, supply of taxable goods and the value is greater than 2.5 lakhs. If you see, this printed is greater than 2.5 lakhs. So for that, deduction is required. There you can see that books are exempted goods. So I am not seeing an hour this thing, because more than that this will be very simple one which is in the inter. Under this exempted goods, you can see, I think this is not till updated, because I can see this printed books also. Can see only the books are exempted. The printed books and the illustrated, the payment is it is for the printed books and printed and or illustrated postcards, that is for 3 lakhs. Remember, I will share you the updated one, this list. So here the same, the books are only exempted goods, so no TDS on that transaction, but for the illustrated or the printed postcards, TDS is applicable as the value is greater than 2.5 lakhs. Then the finance department, which is making payment to a supplier of car rental service. What is the value? It is less than 2.5 lakhs. Deduction is mandatory in case the supply is greater than 2.5. Since it is less than 2.5, the deduction is not mandatory here. Health department executed a contract, local supplier, medical grade oxygen, which is 2.6 lakhs including GST. Again we need to follow the same formula, which is how much? 2.6 lakhs including GST. Here how much is the GST? 12%. So instead of 118, if I make 12, so you can see 2.32, right? So 2.32 means which is less than 2.5 lakhs, deduction is not required. Municipal corporation purchases heavy generator from a supplier in Delhi. It is making a payment of 5 lakhs. In that case, the TDS, the value is exceeding 2.5, deduction is required. What we need to focus here is we should able to identify whether it is an exempted goods, exempted services, that we need to give attention. And then very important one, whenever you see the value, don't directly go it is greater than 2.5, TDS is applicable. You have to see whether the value is excluding GST or including GST or not. That you need to pay attention there. Fisheries Department making a payment of 10 lakhs to a contractor for supplying labor. So the service is an exempted service under notification 12/2017. So in that case, it is TDS is not applicable. Municipality making a payment of 5 lakhs cleaning of drains. So in that we need to see whether it is an exempted service. So what is the service? Supplier who is engaged in cleaning of drains and the value of supply of goods not more than 25% of the value of composite supply. If it is related to the cleaning of drains for the municipal corporation, that service itself is an exempted service, so no TDS required to be deducted. Same way, government school is making payment to a supplier, supply of cooked food. The supply of service is an exempted service. Health department to a supplier, supply of hearing aids. I think you can see in here. So in this is actually a very summary form for Inter. Maybe in ours it will be detailed. If I miss this page, then very difficult to come back. So where you need to have a look on the supply of services, supply of goods. So that details we should be know. Now at least wherever few important supply of goods or services are there, we need to remember at least the repeated questions are there. So this the hearing aids, the supply of goods is exempted one. So hence TDS is not applicable. So when TDS is applicable, when TDS is not applicable, there we need to see whether that particular goods is exempted from supply, goods is exempted or service is exempted, that you need to see carefully. So we are clear with the rate of deduction, TDS deduction. So we have seen these two examples. Now we are going to see this illustration 3. He is a person registered under composition scheme in Jharkhand who makes taxable supply to a local authority where the value, the contract is 2.55 lakhs. The following payment is made by local authority to ZA. So he is a DDO. The local authority is a DDO. So we know it is a greater than 2.5 lakhs. Now where you have this confusion, because the person is registered under composition scheme. Whether he registered under normal scheme or the person is registered under composition scheme is not the matter. We always should pay attention to whom we are providing the service or supply. So here the person is giving the supply to local authority. He is a DDO, hence TDS is applicable. TDS towards is applicable, 100 and 100, 200. So this point, you have to remember this point. So not only the normal GST, based on the normal GST registration number, TDS will not be deducted. Separate registration number you need to apply and get for GST TDS deduction, because it is an addition to the normal registration. Then this is the just summary. Deduct the TDS, make payment of deducted tax to the government within 10 days after the end of the month in which deduction was made. So now you need to recollect our return chapter, GST returns. This GST R7 needs to be filed when submit the return. So okay, in this month I have deducted some 100 numbers of invoices of different suppliers. So all those deductions I need to pay to the government. When I need to pay, for example, I have done in the month of May. So by June 10th I need to, within 10 days I need to make the payment to the government and I need to submit the return. Which return? GST R7, in which deduction was made. Furnish the system generated TDS certificate in form GST R7A to the deductee within 5 days of crediting payment of TDS to the government. So they can say I am in that I am a DDO, then I need to generate that certificate. I can send that certificate to my suppliers. That is one case. The other area is, even I am not going to send that certificate, but this is mandatory, but still you can also see while logging into the GST portal, and you can see whether GST TDS is there or not. So how much is the GST TDS deducted by your customer? You can still have a look on the GST portal by logging into your site. So in whatever the summary here, the same, this diagrammatic one, the late fee, interest, penalty payable by the deductor. If fails to make the payment, fails to make payment tax, both the deducted tax and interest to be paid. Okay, you have failed, you have deducted my money while making the payment, but you have still not remitted to the government. In that case, you have to pay along with interest. And if you are failed to furnish GST R7 within due date, the late fee 100 CGST, SGST per day and maximum 5,000 rupees you need to pay separately. So if you are failed to pay, furnish the GST R7 per day 200, CGST 100, SGST 100. And if you fail to furnish form GST R7A, again you are liable to pay the along with the late fee 100 per day, maximum 5,000. This questions also asked, like what is the late fee for the payment for the non-filing of GST R7. In that case, you need to remember this 100 plus 100 and maximum is 5,000. So in case if you have paid more, you can still go for recovery. If excess amount deducted, refund also can be claimed by the deductor as the case may be. I think in this we have this penalty and the late fee is there. So we can see here this is related to under section 73 or 74A. So the CGST, the section 73 or 74, here there is a notification is there. This is dated, this is effective from this 8th October 24. This notification waives the late fee for delay in filing Form GSTR 7, which was applicable from June 21 onwards. So this is the latest one, the late fee waiver. This is late filing of Form GSTR 7. The late fee cap 25 per day CGST, maximum 1000 per return. Nil TDS return, even though nil TDS, complete waiver of late fee if no tax was deducted. Previously, even if you failed to file nil return, the same late fee was applicable. Now from this recent date, 8th of October, that has been waived off. The total late fee payable is capped 1000 rupees. Invoice wise details in GSTR 7. So if I am a DDO officer, I need to provide against which invoice, what is the TDS percentage I have deducted, I have to give in detail. The GST Council has recommended registered person must provide invoice wise details in Form GSTR 7. Greater transparency and traceability of TDS amounts. Previously, how it looks, say for example from company to the company ABC Private Limited, I need to pay say 50,000 rupees. 50,000 is for some 5 number of invoices. What I do, I don't mention that 5 number of invoices. Against that payment of 50,000, 2% TDS, and the 2% TDS will be like 10,000. So that 10,000 only I will show. Even if you open tomorrow in your GST portal, you will not be understanding against what are the invoices that 10,000 TDS is lying in your GST TDS. Now recently, for the greater transparency and the traceability purpose, the government has recommended all the DDOs to give invoice wise details. So now this illustration covers all those transactions. Now we'll see X Limited supplier has received 2 different purchase orders from Education Department, a unit of state government of Tamil Nadu. The details of 2 purchase orders. There are 2 different purchase orders. The person has received the goods. You have to be careful when you are looking into the amount. It shows inclusive of tax 60,000. The person has received the goods in July. The bills are paid on August. The quantum of TDS and the person liable to deduct TDS. So 3,50,000 purchase order, including, if you see this first one, inclusive of tax 60,000. So if you remove 60,000, how much is the value? 2,40,000. So TDS is not applicable for this first one, and the TDS applicable only for 3,50,000. So the TDS is 2%. On a 2% means it comes 7,000 TDS will be deducted. Next, last date of payment of TDS. This is which month they have made the payment? 15th August. So that means 10th of September is the due date. And when the certificate has to be furnished, GSTR 7A to the supplier. GSTR 7 is what? Furnishing the return. 7A is the certificate which you give to the supplier. So the certificate when you are giving 15th of September, and when you have to file the return 10th of this date is 10th of September. So after you furnish this return, that is 10th September, within 5 days you need to give this certificate to the supplier. So this, there is no change. You can have a look if you want to easily remember. So GSTR 7A is what? Within 5 days of crediting the payment of TDS to the government, that is furnishing form GSTR 7. So the same it is mentioned, that is 10th of September and the certificate is 15th of September. So the penalty for late furnishing, here there is no late furnishing, it has been paid. So the penalty for late furnishing of form GSTR 7A, there is no late or the penalty for 7A, there is nothing. Only for 7 we have to pay if there is a late fee. 7A is nothing. 7A is what? The certificate. After you file the return, you are supposed to issue certificate to your supplier. So tomorrow if you are a DDO officer, you furnished the return and I have made the supply to you and you have not given me the certificate, but still I don't have any problem because I can go back and check in my GST portal. Any government establishments has deducted TDS, whether I have any GST TDS in my account. So there is now what they have decided, there will not be any penalty for furnishing of form GSTR 7A. So this is the related to where you can see the date exactly, like what is the TDS due date and all. Now comes to the these types of questions may come, like because we have other departments where we have discussed, like this is an exempted service, this is again an exempted service, exempted goods are there. So we have to identify now and we have to see whether GST TDS is applicable or not. Raj departments registered in Delhi engaged in the supply of various goods and services exclusively to government departments notified under section 51. Their contract values and payment. See, now you can have a look quickly. Stationery to fisheries department, car rental services to municipal corporation, heavy machinery to public sector undertaking, and supply of taxable goods to Delhi office. See, now what very important thing is, your contract value is 12,60,000 and I am saying for the first line only for example purpose, because it is related to fisheries department. Actually it is an exempted service. For exempted service, GST TDS not applicable. I am telling only for example purpose. So your contract value is 12,60,000 and the invoice is raised for 2,15,000. That means we have to deduct TDS, that is DDO, who will deduct TDS on what money amount he is paying to you. So if I am going to release the payment of 2,15,000, on 2,15,000, 2% TDS I will deduct. I will not deduct on based on this 12,60,000. That you need to remember here. So here we have seen multiple services, taxable goods, then interior decoration of Andhra Bhavan, and printed books and printed postcards, and the last one is street lights in municipal area. The maintenance contract entered into Municipal Corporation of Delhi. So then how the value not more than 25%. So now we have to see what is how we are going to summarize it. So we know it. The first one is, if we are supplying anything to the fisheries department, actually it is an exempted service. I will see in inter. I just forgot to open ours one more. It's not searching. So in our, I will take the screenshot of ours, the supplies where it is an exempted. So remember, if there is any supply to the fisheries department, it is an exempted supply, hence TDS is not applicable. If I tell you exempted supply means what? GST itself is not applicable, hence TDS is not applicable, not required to be deducted. Same way, providing that we are supplying car rental services. The service to whom we are giving? To the Municipal Corporation of Delhi. So the car rental services, these will get captured in our goods transport. You need to remember the exempted services. So these are again treated as an exempted and you are not liable to deduct TDS. Then heavy machinery to public sector undertaking, it is in Uttarakhand. So here you have to see on 25,000, 2%, which is 500. Then supply of taxable goods, Delhi office to a society established by the government of India under the Societies Registration Act. If you remember from point A to F, the society registered under, they are also called as DDO, and the TDS is applicable. So both are in New Delhi, CGST, SGST. So the interior decoration. So see here, we need to apply DDO and the place of supply, the location of supplier. First you remember who is the DDO here? The interior decoration of Andhra Pradesh, located in Delhi. Service contract is entered into the government of Andhra Pradesh, registered only in Andhra Pradesh. So we are entering into a contract with whom? The government of Andhra Pradesh. So he is the DDO. We are the supplier from Raj department. The supplier is from Delhi. So this itself is, if I go back and share, then you will be recollecting. See here, the DDO belongs to the supplier state, or you can see here. Now I will take Andhra only. So Andhra Pradesh. So this only we have, right? If you see the last one, So you are able to see the last line, right? The government of Andhra Pradesh engages a contractor of New Delhi. So in our illustration, we are seeing the same only. So the government of Andhra Pradesh, the Raj supplier in our illustration, he is in New Delhi, and the renovation is also happening in Andhra Pradesh Bhavan with Andhra Bhavan in New Delhi. So the first thing what we have to compare, DDO. DDO is government of Andhra Pradesh, supplier state New Delhi. So both are not same. So we are checking again one more. DDO and place of supply. DDO is Andhra Pradesh. Place of supply again New Delhi. Hence TDS is not applicable in our illustration. That is fifth one. Then printed books, printed postcards. So this printed books, printed postcards, these are also again an exempted supply. Hence TDS not applicable. And the last one is maintenance of street lights, and it is related to the municipal corporation. Any supply to the municipal corporation, then the TDS is not applicable. So what here from this point we have understood is we have to pay attention on exempted supply of services. Every day one exempted of supply of services is required. So we have spent half an hour only for exempted supply of services, because it will be very difficult if we want to understand what are the exempted supply of services. I can also refer previous years other question papers, but still whatever we can easily remember, like this fisheries service, fisheries department, any supply to the municipal corporations. So whether how we have to mention, because now the expectation will be under which note you need to mention notification number 12/2017. So this even the entry number not able to remember, but you have to mention this 12/27. If you see here, no, so wherever you can to mention this in an exempted service as per notification number 12/2017. This is treated as an exempted service. So it is very important for us. So now only this much is from TDS related. What is the amount? Who is liable? What are the transactions not required, TDS not required to be deducted? And you need to remember few of the exempted services where TDS not required to be deducted. Now other simple topic is TCS. So TDS is what? I am a DDO officer. When I make payment to you, I deduct the tax. TCS is what? I am not saying DDO. Say I am a supplier. So in that case, TCS is what? My bill value is 100, and I add, say for example, 2 rupees. TCS 100, 2 rupees, and the GST 18 means on 100 rupees 18%, which is 1.8 18 rupees. So same only 100, 2 rupees is my TCS, and the 18 rupees is my GST. So I will collect 120 rupees. TCS is what? I collect from you and I pay to the government. Tax collected at the source. So in this topic, what we need to understand is who is liable to collect the TCS. Just you need to parallelly remember TDS. Who is liable to deduct TDS? Here, who is liable to collect TCS? So that be very simple one, electronic commerce operator. So electronic commerce operator means what? Any person who owns, manages, operates digital or electronic facility or platform for electronic commerce. Electronic commerce, supply of goods, services, both including digital products over digital or electronic network. So e-commerce operator, he is liable. So, there will be a question, I'm not sure, in one of the question which I have seen is, what is the difference between TDS, GST TDS, GST TCS? So what you can, the first point you write section. Section 51 is for TDS. Now we are into 52, which is TCS. That section you can mention, easy one. And the written, if you remember, GST 7 is for TDS, GST 8 is for TCS. So 7 and 8, these are very, which you can not even required to revise, but you can remember and write the simple ones. And under section 52, there we are saying DDO will be deducting, right? Drawing and disbursement offices. Here, electronic commerce operator is liable to collect TCS only if the supply made through such operator by other suppliers and the consideration is collected by the e-commerce operator. Supplies made by the e-commerce operator on its own account are not subject to TCS requirements. This point you have to remember, this last one. Supplies made by e-commerce operator on its own account are not subject to TCS requirements. So TCS, you have to see supply of goods, both services or both. Supplier of services notified under section 9 subsection 5, yes, then e-commerce liable to pay GST on such services provided by him, that is reverse charge. E-commerce is not liable to pay TCS. So if the every e-commerce is liable to pay liable to TCS on net value of taxable supplies. Section 9 subsection 5. So this will be easy one, I think. I will show you this. So the one which you are seeing, this one is from Interities. So you can see the section 9 subsection 5, intrastate supply through e-commerce operator. 9, you have to see section 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you remember this, 7 is for scope of supply, 8 is for composite and mixed supplies, this 9 is for levy and collection. So under 9 you have multiple subsections. So now you need to recollect 9 subsection 3 is for reverse charge, and reverse charge goods supplied by unregistered person, and this one intrastate supply through e-commerce operator. So going back to our, so if it is the supplier of services is notified under section 9 subsection 5, in that case he is liable to pay GST, but he is not liable to TCS. So we will see, now remember these things. Now again, like TDS, whenever I say that there is a difference, easy way is again TDS percentage. TDS is 2%. Now the new rate here is 0.5 percentage, and 0.25 is for CGST, SGST and IGST 0.5%. This is for the rate. And if you see, it is with effective from 10th of July. Services not notified for e-commerce operators: passenger transport services, housekeeping, accommodation or restaurant including those provided by cloud kitchens, or excluded from TCS, when the operator already liable to pay tax. So I'll tell you, this e-commerce operator, if he is a supplier is XYZ and buyer is A. Whenever you see e-commerce operator, your supplier is who here? He is the original one, who is the original supplier. And e-commerce operator, what he does? He purchase from XYZ and he sell to buyer is A. Supplier, nature of supply, taxable supply, and the supplier is in Karnataka, and the location of buyer is also Karnataka, and the sale value is 1 lakh. So in this case, how we are going to calculate the TCS? The applicable TCS rate they have given, which this is our 10th July onwards, it is 0.5 percentage. That means 0.25. So on 10 lakhs, 0.25 and 0.25 percentage. So this is the normal simple example to make us understand how the TCS is calculated. So sale value we know it, and what is the percentage also you need to remember here, 0.25 percentage. Then other important terms under TCS. So remember, TCS is section 52. Supplies are made by other supplier through them. So suppliers are made by other supplier means who? XYZ, he supply to the Flipkart, and through Flipkart Mr. A purchase from e-commerce operator, that is from the Flipkart he buys, that is Mr. A buys. TCS rate: operator shall collect 1% of the net value of taxable supplies. So you can write, currently it is 0.5 percentage, and the net value means net, what is meant by net value of taxable supplies? What is the time period? So aggregate value of tax supplies minus section 9 subsection 5, aggregate value of returned taxable supplies. Okay, now what happens? He buys, and now all that, this entire transaction itself is completed. Like TCS 0.25, 500 rupees collected. Later the person checks the material and he wants to return back. He did not like the material which has he received. In that case, how the TCS has to be cleared, that we need to see. Only that is compared to this illustration, where we need to focus, that we have to see. Rest all are very simple. The time period same, within 10 days. The manner of payment paid by debiting the e-cash ledger and electronic liability ledger. Monthly statement, then we need to mention, because why here return of goods or services? As I said, take this illustration itself. He purchased from Flipkart. Now he did not like it and he wants to return the material back. It may happen in 1 month, or it may go into, you suppose May end he received it and May 31st he returns it. So there are little complications are there. So he has to show in the return what are the outward supplies, against the supplies what are the material he received as a return from the customers. So GSTR 8 is there. So annual statement. I'm seeing is there any examples are there? Only that examples I think, rest all are okay. Then yes, we will see this simple examples also, and we will discuss all the question papers I have collected from because yesterday when I have shared this question, the same question has been repeated in the CS, not in CA also. It has it has come from CS previous year's questions. So we need to we will revise every day one at least whatever questions are there, we have to revise at least one questions. If you see this, the same question except some small change in the company secretary exams, this has been asked. So we will revise all the other questions also, and we will focus on the even if you are not able to remember all the exempted services, wherever there is a repeated services are there, we'll pay attention, and you start revising every day some 1 hour a day, so you will be able to clear it. So I'll stop till here because he may be waiting for me. So in the next class we will see the other things, and whenever we find the time we will connect for the question paper revisions. And I will stop till here, and thank you all. Bye, good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Yeah, thank you, Anu. Bye, good night.